Okay, so the recording is in progress. Welcome, welcome all. Welcome, all. Okay, okay, so we'll have this playing low in the background. Again, welcome all. Thank you for your patience. I won't delay this any further. Let me go ahead and start the slideshow up and get the show on the road. So, thank you for stopping by. Thank yourself for stopping by, for thinking enough about yourself to engage in an evening of self care. So, the name of this workshop is Energy Maintenance, Valentine's Edition, and it is for those who are lonely or grieving. And this idea came to me because I think a lot of times we exclusively think about Valentine's Day as a day for couples, as a day to exchange love, gifts, time with another. And it makes people who, and not everybody has that luxury, or not everybody has that space, or not everybody has the opportunity or in the space right now mindset to be in relation with anyone on this day, due to choice or due to loss, whatever the reason is. Not everybody is fortunate on Valentine's Day to be accompanied with somebody else, and that can be difficult for a lot of people, especially when we, since we live in a society that likes to make you feel ashamed of yourself through various forms of advertisements or trends or fads or whatever social phenom is happening at the time. Especially out in the West, we have a way of making people feel like they're missing out or late or behind, because they lack things that a normal, community member, law-abiding citizen, or not even law-abiding, but like, phrase right, it's like valued member of society would, consider normal, or what would be normal for a valued member of society, right? So I wanted to create a space for the misfits, for the outcasts, for the lone wolves, for those who are alone. All right, so that's the reason why, this workshop is important to me. So enough about why. Who I am. Asia Thompson, aka Militant Unicorn, is the nickname. I am a Reiki master. I was attuned to Reiki level 1 and 2 in 2020 by my Reiki godmothers, Aki and Manu, and to the Usui Reiki lineage. And the name of their practice or their space is called Mika, which is Japanese for home. And then last year in December, I was attuned to the Reiki Master Teacher level by Gary Malone and Adele Malone over at the Reiki Healing Association, again, Usui Rajo Reiki system lineage. I'm also a spiritual coach and creative professional. And creative professional just runs the gamut of design, planning, wayfinding activations, or just activations in general that like pop-ups, where I encourage people to come out and experience a familiar space but in a different way. So, moving on, the intention of this workshop, which I think I spoke a little bit in the beginning, I was kind of rambling, but a more refined agenda is we're going to be doing maintenance for an achy heart, for the lonely heart, exploring topics of compassion, of what it feels like to be in sticky situations, what it feels like to, or explore the concept of feeling pinned by life, pinned down in a tight squeeze by life. We're going to learn about the importance of compassion, how to cultivate it not only for others, but most importantly, and first and foremost, for yourself. And then we're going to move into exploring practical exercises to soften and melt the armor around the heart. Give me 1 second. I have to grab a book. All right, moving right along. So to ground into this space, let's just take a moment. We're going to do an exercise to open up the space and get us ready for our practice. Sometimes when we come into these workshops, even the practitioner, the host, the guide for the workshop, we need a reference point where we can all start from. So we're not all starting from different places, just so you understand the importance of grounding into a space. So we all can kind of line up on the same frequency and be able to walk through this workshop together hand in hand. So, if you will, wherever you are, feel what is underneath you. You can be lying down, you can be seated, either with your legs straight out in front of you or cross. Get comfortable. Okay, we have the meditative music in the background to help you sink deeper into your seat. Open up your ears, open up your heart to receive this grounding exercise. So I lovingly call this grounding exercise packing up and going in an instant, right? So where you are, close your eyes and softly bring your awareness to your thoughts. Lovingly. You can have a many of thoughts. Thoughts about your to-do list, thoughts about scenes that have passed, things that you wish you could have said, or things that you forgot to say, things that you forgot in general. Might be thoughts about the future, what you need to do, what you should be doing. If you're ever in a particular situation again, what you might say. Creating narratives and scenarios that will never come to pass. Just watch them float by. Don't attach yourself to the thoughts. Don't blow them up any bigger than what they are. Notice them and allow them to float by. As you allow these thoughts to float by, get a sense of the thoughts. We want to move beyond the chatter and get into the feeling, into the weight of the thought. Are these thoughts heavy? Do they make you feel weighed down? Do they bring up feelings of grief, of sadness, of fear? Take those heavy feelings that are coming up for you and pull them down into your lap, ever so gently, ever so lovingly. And envision that there is a duffel bag of your choice in front of you. could be a duffel bag of your choice. Brand new, it can be your favorite duffel bag if you're a traveler. It could be a memento, a duffel bag that someone gave you, maybe your grandparents, value. Whatever the duffel bag is, start to pack away those heavy feelings. So with each passing thought that comes in, letting go of the chatter, pulling down those denser emotions, packing them into that bag, ever so gently, ever so lovingly. And when you've packed up all of the baggage, all of those dense emotions serve you, that weigh you down, zip up the bag, again, ever so lovingly. And we're going to visualize an elevator appearing in front of you as if out of thin air. An elevator of your choice. It can be an indoor elevator, an outdoor elevator, a service elevator. It can be an antique elevator, whatever elevator you choose. Visualize it. Visualize the doors opening up in front of you, and you, along with your duffel bag, enter into the elevator. Okay? Now, here we're going to begin our descent down, further down into our belly. And with each breath, let's do 5 breaths. We're going to make our way down. Each breath is going to be each descending. So let's say we start at 5, breath 4, breath 3, if you catch my drift. At your own pace, breathe backwards down to 1. And when you hit 1, watch the doors open in front of you. You and your duffel bag are now in paradise. You and this bag full of heavy emotions are now in a lush garden, a lush pasture, a lush meadow, jungle, whatever the scenery. Make it green, make it lush, and make sure there's a body of water nearby. A river, lake, stream. It can be an ocean. And visualize yourself taking in every scene. Breathing in the fresh air, having the sun rays kiss your skin. And make your way to wherever this lovely body of water is. Don't forget your duffel bag. This is an important step. When you get next to the body of water, open up that bag and release those dense emotions into the water, allowing the water to transmute that energy, repurpose it for a higher and greater good, and to cleanse you of those denser emotions. Now that your bag is empty, take a look around this beautiful, luscious paradise. What are some things that you want to take back? What are some feelings that you want to take back with you? How does this space make you feel? Happy, blissful, peaceful, relieved, relaxed, rejuvenated. Take all of that goodness and put that in your bag and take as much as you need. But also remember that this space is here for you whenever you need to re up. So, with your bag packed with these new goodies, with these lighter feelings, these renewed feelings, hop back on your elevator. And now we're on up with our breaths from 1 to 5. Your own pace, take your time. Really imbibe that you now have all this renewed good energy up with you that you can utilize for the session, for the evening, for the rest of the however long you want to be with those feelings. You get to 5. Gently flutter your eyes open or come to if your eyes were never closed. And let's reconvene back in this space. So now that we are reset or have reset, let's continue. Let's continue on and see what goodies are going to come out of this workshop. Okay? Cleansing breath myself. So let's start off with compassion. Okay? And hopefully the music isn't too distracting. I'm not sure. Okay. It's nothing wrong with regrouping. Okay. All right, let's go back to slideshow. All right, so part 1, compassion. All right, so compassion, we often think about compassion as it relates to others, right? But in order to feel compassion, to truly feel compassion for others, you have to be able to cultivate it within yourself first. So we're going to go through some keywords. We're going to have like a slight little mini lesson before getting to our practical applications of these things, of these keywords. Okay. So Maitri is Sanskrit for loving kindness towards oneself, and it's the basis of compassion because you can only meet someone as deeply as you have met yourself. Okay. Most of these are Sanskrit or Tibetan words, so I might butcher the second one. The next keyword is bodhicitta, and it's noble or awakened heart. And you would be amazed at the process in getting to the awakened heart states, but we will talk about it and apply it later on in the workshop. Tongling is sending and receiving, right? Hello. Hi, Kaya. I hope I said your name correctly. Welcome in. Welcome in. Welcome in. I am at the keywords, but we did an opening meditation just to ground into the space, but you didn't miss much.
Okay, thank
So,
you.
no problem. I'll just give you the short, abbreviated version of the intention for the workshop. So, we're going to be doing energy maintenance for an achy heart. So, it's not only those who are single, but those who are grieving. Also, if you're just someone who's an introvert or might have experienced a lot of loss or just isolation. This workshop is here to give you tips how to self soothe. Then we're going to move on to learn about not move on, but we're going to learn about in part one the importance of compassion and how to cultivate it for yourself and others. And then we're going to explore practical applications of compassion through some Eastern breathing practices and healing modalities. And I have like keywords and stuff to walk us through the workshop. So we did a grounding exercise where we just took a deep breath. We took 5 breaths to unpack our thoughts, ease into the space, and observing how our thoughts made us feel. Taking all of the negative emotions that you might feel, either anxiety, fear, grief about to do list, about relationships, about anything in your waking life, and packing it away for the time being in exchange for lighter, more regenerative feelings of bliss, of peace, of rejuvenation, so that you can have that lighter energy to kind of guide you through this workshop, but also to help you recalibrate or like clear your mind when it starts to race or get away from.
Okay. I need to
So,
learn.
so
I'm sorry.
I'll walk you through the exercise if you want to try it on your own. Um, so you want to start by just taking inventory of how you feel of the space and bring your awareness softly to your thoughts. You don't want to attach to your thoughts. You don't want to expand them beyond just, oh, I got to do this, or oh, I just remembered that. Just leave it at that. And sometimes, like for me, for example, when I have like a thought like, oh man, I forgot to do this, or I got to pay this, all these feelings start to come up, like anxiety, like impending doom. Like if I don't do this now, something terrible is going to happen. At that moment, I stop and I'm like, that's just a thought. I'm safe. Nothing's going to happen to me. I'm going to take that emotion though, and I'm going to work with it. So packing up and go is packing up all those emotions lovingly because you don't want to judge yourself. That brings up all kind of other emotions as well. So pack all that away in a bag of your choice, and you want to take 5 deep breaths and visualize yourself emerging into a paradise of your choice. So I give people just kind of frame of reference so you can awaken into a pasture, into a meadow, into a beach, into a jungle. And the only requirement for this paradise is that there is a body of water there. So it could be a stream, river, lake, ocean. And you take your bag to that body of water and dump out all those negative emotions into the water as a sign of like renewal. So it's cleansing yourself of those denser energies. And then while you're still in this space, you want to actually take the visualization to the max and feel how the scenes make you feel. Like, how would it feel to be on a beach right now? How would it feel to be somewhere? like in a park right now, somewhere luscious, you probably would feel peace, bliss, happiness. And so you would take those lighter emotions, pack them in your duffel bag, and bring them back up with you. So then you would take 5 cleansing breaths back up, come to, and then you would keep those emotions with you to come back to or cycle back to whenever you need to like reground yourself. So that's the pack up and go exercise. I hope it makes sense. So the keywords that I'm probably gonna be using interchangeably during the workshop is Maitri, which is loving kindness towards oneself. And this is Sanskrit, by the way. And then the next word is Bodhicitta, which is noble or awakened heart. Tonglen, which is sending or receiving. And it's a way to get you to the awakened heart. Lion's roar is one of the practical exercises that we'll be doing later on in the workshop. And it's a circle of compassion exercise where we're able to get comfortable with the not so comfortable feelings as a way and as a conduit to hold space for others when they're not in, for ourselves and for others when we're not in the best space mentally or physically, or circumstances are not the best, right? And so this term was coined by Pima Chodron, and I'll be reading from this book too. It's When Things Fall Apart um, by Pima, which is really good. I'll be reading a couple of passages from here just to add context to the workshop. These keywords, I just wanted to make this as beginner friendly as possible. So don't feel like you have to know all of these things right off the bat, but a lot of the things or the concepts, especially when we talk about energy healing later on in the workshop, it's traditional Chinese medicine. So a lot of the thing, so also, I didn't introduce myself, sorry. So my name is Asia Thompson, aka Militant Unicorn. I'm a Reiki master practitioner as well as a spiritual coach and creative professional. And that just encompasses all things design and planning and activation. And when I was attuned to Reiki, my you can call them Reiki teachers or masters or the people who attune you to Reiki. But these special pair of women wanted to be referred to as Reiki godmothers. So these women taught Reiki to me in the vein that it's all of it is stems from Mother Africa. However, the East is who formalized it and was able to give it science and give it a process so that it could be efficiently passed down to other practitioners, right? So that's where traditional Chinese medicine comes in. Qi is our life force. It is the energy that flows through you and through everything. So the way that I can explain this is like when we were kids and you had on your socks and you would be like running on a carpet and then go and like shock, your cousin or your friend or whoever. That's how energy kind of transfers from one person to another person or another object because, sometimes you might not touch the person, you might touch an object and still feel a shock. So that's our life force, right? And so the meridians are the channels that form a network in the body through which the chi flows. So we have larger energetic points, right, which are the chakras. And these chakras, so let me go to chakras. So it's like a spinning wheel of energy. And these spinning discs, they correspond with your physical organs, and also correspond to emotional and mental well-being, right? So these larger spinning discs, they connect to the meridians, which are like energetic vessels, as you can kind of, I guess you could describe them as that. And so as your chakra spins out the energy, it goes and flows to, so like your heart chakra, right? It would be right, you know, over your heart. So as that wheel spins, the energy from that will flow into the actual heart, like, you know, the aortic, this and that, or your lungs, right? That's also corresponds with the lungs. And show the lungs are long, so I'll be forgetting. The lungs are also connected with your solar plexus and sacral. So if these chakras to me are very vital, so the heart, the solar, and the sacral, they encompass a lot of our vital organs, liver, kidneys, your reproductive system. And so it's important to keep those wheels spinning clear and aligned, um, and making sure that there's no major blockages, because either having dense energy or no energy flow could be detrimental to your physical organs. But that takes a little longer to show up uh, in modern medicine. And I'll I don't want to get too far off track. So, and then Reiki. So, as a Reiki practitioner, we use Reiki to help our clients work through their energetic blockages. So, if someone's proactive about their health, they can minimize the risk of major health ailments if they have like a regimented, like, energy cleanse or um, recalibration every now and again. So Reiki pulls from source energy, light energy, and as I mentioned, you have to be attuned to it. I mean, we all have access to source, and you can think of source as spirit, or you can think of it as omnipresent. However you identify infinite light, infinite love, infinite abundance. We pull in that, or we are the conduit or the vessel where we allow that infinite light to flow through us and into our clients to clear out any blockages and calibrate their energetic centers. Um, so, to bring context into the workshop, especially when we're talking about compassion and the more unconventional definition of compassion, I wanted to read two passages from When Things Fall Apart. So we're going to start on page 8. You didn't have to get the book, so you don't have to worry if you don't have it. So it says, when you have good friends with yourself, your situation will be more friendly too. I had learned this lesson before, and I knew that it was the only way to go. I used to have a sign pinned up on my wall that read, only to the extent that we expose ourselves over and over to annihilation can that which is indestructible be found in us. Somehow, even before I heard the Buddhist teachings, I knew that this was the spirit of true awakening. It was all about letting go of everything. Nevertheless, when the bottom falls out and we can't find anything to grasp, it hurts a lot. It's like the Norpa Institute. Norpa is like a kind of like a monastery, or like a Krishna temple or a Buddhist temple. So Norpa Institute motto: love of the truth puts you on the spot. We might have some romantic view of what that means, but when we are nailed with the truth, we suffer. We look in the bathroom mirror, and there we are with our pimples, our aging face, our lack of kindness, our aggression, our timidity, all that stuff. This is where tenderness comes in. When things are shaky and nothing is working, we might realize that we are on the verge of something. We might realize that this is a very vulnerable and tender place, and that tenderness can go either way. We can shut down and feel resentful, or we can touch in on that throbbing quality. There is definitely something tender and throbbing about groundlessness. Mhm. Okay. So it's a kind of testing, the kind of testing that spiritual warriors need in order to awaken their hearts. Sometimes it's because of illness or death that we find ourselves in this place. We experience a sense of loss, loss of our loved ones, loss of our youth, loss of our life. I have a friend dying of AIDS. Before I was leaving for a trip, we were talking. He said, I didn't want this, and I hated this, and I was terrified of this. But it turns out that this illness has been my greatest gift. He said, now every moment is so precious to me. All the people in my life are so precious to me. My whole life means so much to me. Something had really changed, and he felt ready for his death. Something that was horrifying and scary had turned into a gift. Things falling apart is a kind of testing and also a kind of healing. We think that the point is to pass the test or to overcome the problem, but the truth is that things don't really get solved. They come together and fall apart, then they come together and fall apart again. It's just like that. The healing comes from letting there be room for all of this to happen, room for grief, for relief, for misery, for joy. Okay. And then very quickly, go to page 80 now. Did you have any general thoughts? I don't want to just keep yapping.
No, that was interesting though to to hear that.
Yeah.
Ye-
Okay. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh no, you're fine. I was just going to say, I just never looked at it as it being a test to see if you overcome. Like it's really not a test. It's just the will of overcoming, and we think it's a test.
Right. Right. That's
Never.
the thing. And I love this book because, it's called When Things Fall Apart, right?
Mhm.
And she literally just gives advice about like how to just deal with the in between, the interim, you know? There is no running when you bottom out. And we try so hard to like not feel bad or run away from those icky feelings, but in reality, it's really there to kind of help you along. That's to feel is to be alive. So this book teaches, at least it taught me like to be grateful for all of the feelings because there are some people that can't feel anything, because they're so numb or they pushed so much stuff down or just they ran so far from themselves that they can't even find their way back. Like, I'll say this and then I'll move on. But there's some people who I'll see that are so far, like so disillusioned that it's hard for me to believe that they believe their own bullshit. Like I'm looking at them like, you can't be serious, right? Like this has gotta be you have to be able to take that mask off at the end of the day. But unfortunately, I've been in relationships with people where I'm just like, no, like you really want to keep this facade up. Like you really want to mask your pain or try to like hide your flaws. And it's just such an exhausting task when it's just so much easier just to let it fall and let it hang out and just let it be what it is instead of trying to pretend that it's not.
Yeah.
So let me page 80. Okay. So it says, recently I was talking with an old man who has been living on the streets for the last 4 years. Nobody ever looks at him, no one ever talks to him. Maybe somebody gives him a little money, but nobody ever looks in his face and asks him how he's doing. The feeling that he doesn't exist for other people, the sense of loneliness and isolation is intense. He reminded me that the essence of compassionate speech or compassionate action is to be there for people without pulling back in horror or fear or anger. Being compassionate is a pretty tall order. All of us are in relationships every day of our lives, but particularly if we are people who want to help others, people with cancer, people with AIDS, abused women or children, abused animals, anyone who's hurting, something we soon notice is that the person we set out to help may trigger unresolved issues in us. Even though we want to help, and maybe we would do help, or maybe we do help for a few days or a month or two. Sooner or later, someone walks through that door and pushes all our buttons. We find ourselves hating those people, or scared of them, or feeling like we just can't handle them. This is true always if we are sincere about wanting to benefit others. This is true always if we are sincere about wanting to help others. Sooner or later, all our own unresolved issues will come up. We'll be confronted with ourselves. Roshi Bernard Glassman is a Zen teacher who runs a project for the homeless in Yonkers, New York. Last time I heard him speak, he said something that struck me. He said he doesn't really do this work to help others. He does it because he feels that moving into the areas of society that he had rejected is the same as working with the parts of himself that he had rejected. Although this is ordinary Buddhist thinking, it's difficult to live it. It's even difficult to hear that what we reject out there is what we reject in ourselves. And what we reject in ourselves is what we're going to reject out there. But that, in a nutshell, is how it works. If we find ourselves unworkable and give up on ourselves, then we'll find others unworkable and give up on them. What we hate in ourselves, we'll hate in others. To the degree that we have compassion for ourselves, we will also have compassion for others. Having compassion starts and ends with having compassion for all those unwanted parts of ourselves, all those imperfections that we don't even want to look at. Compassion isn't some kind of self-improvement project or ideal that we're trying to live up to. So that is the launching pad from which we're going to practice compassion in the workshop. Do you have any thoughts about that?
No.
Okay. So we're going to move into some practical applications. Okay. And the first one is going to be the lion's roar, which is the circle of compassion that I spoke about in the beginning. So, how the lion's roar works is she spoke about how it's hard for us to face grisly scenes without pulling back in horror or fear or even anger. But the very things that we pull away from may possibly be things that are buried within. And we want to be empowered to face all these things with compassion. So it's not facing it trying to beat it or subdue it or, get it to submit. is just to hold space for whatever that feeling is. So it is a round of 3 breaths. And with the breath, say the uncomfortable feeling is, for me, it is, you know, I'll say, I'll just keep it real. I take, the train quite often, and sometimes it hurts to see like homeless veterans that may be amputees
Mhm.
on public transportation. So instead of like trying to busy myself or pull out my phone or pull out a book, I'm not going to stare at them either. But I will take that moment to breathe in. So I will breathe in, take in all that uncomfortable feeling of horror, of sympathy. Some of those feelings are also pity, you know, not wanting to, also feeling like I don't want to be too emotionally involved in what they have going on. Like seeing them in pain is like me also being pain, but that's okay. Again, it just shows that that you're a compassionate being, that you're an empathetic person. But you can transmute that energy for your higher good and for the person's higher good. So back to the example of the homeless veteran amputee. I'll see them, I'll breathe in all of that hurt, all of that pain, grief, fear for them, fear of the unknown. And what I will exhale is hope for my situation, gratitude for my situation. And then I'll take in another breath for, just gratitude, for anybody in my friend circle or my family circle who may be going through a similar situation, who may be experiencing the same pain, because we all have the capacity to have the same emotions, even in different situations. So we may think about an ill loved one, breathe in all of that, sadness and grief and pain for them, but also send them on the exhale breath that relief, that love, that light, that healing energy for them. And then on the third breath, same thing. We want to breathe in all of that dense energy. And on the exhale, we want to be able to provide relief to the collective. So the first breath is for yourself. If you are able to feel those emotions for another, then that means those are emotions that are for yourself. Acknowledge your pain, acknowledge your grief in whatever area in your life that you may be experiencing. Breathe out for yourself, relief, right? Breathe out for yourself, light. Breathe out for yourself, healing energy. Then on the second breath, breathe it in for the family and friends. Exhale, relief for the family and friends. And then for the collective, breathe in, then breathe out. So that's the lion's. And what I typically do when there's a larger group, I will have them, put what is an uncomfortable feeling or what is something that's happening in the world that may be affecting them or affecting a neighbor. What is something that they want us to hold space for? And then we'll all breathe in and breathe out for whatever it is. So if it's war, for somebody, or displacement, there's a lot of people being displaced in these past 4 years because of COVID and all the things that have happened with that, the fluctuation in employment. So anybody who may be in flux, I like to hold space during this time just to breathe in because each one of us have been impacted by it, so that it's like an easy way to envision how this works on a grander scale. So that's the lion's roar. I don't know if you want to try it or if you have any questions about it.
So what is the collectives? Like what entails, like what all goes into a collective? Like when you say that, specifically do you mean?
hmm So the collective can be as big as small as you want. For me, my collective would be Black and brown people, but it can go beyond that, depending on your affiliation or how, or, where you live. The collective could be the country that you stay in, or it could be the world, right? Because a lot of light workers and um, people who do divination, when they refer to the collective, they are referring to whoever the message is hitting, whoever is tuning in, whoever finds resonance. So that would probably be the best way to describe collective is whoever you have deep resonance with on a larger scale. And for me, I just have deep resonance with Black and brown people, so that's my collective.
Okay. Okay.
But it'll be different for everybody. And the collective, the great thing about collective is it's like it's your tribe. It's you can choose. Whereas family and friends, I mean, friends we kind of choose, but family you definitely really can't. It's kind of like who you're born into. So um, I kind of see that as service, you know, to and they're like, and the I guess the circle of relations closer for family and friends than a collective. The collective is further removed, but you're connected in spirit and energy. So yeah,
Okay.
cool. So did you want to practice or you want to say just put it in your
I thought I was, well, I may have. So I was saying it in my head or whatever. I was breathing rather. So I did take a breath, and I know you said it's for myself. And then I was reading the actual diagram here, and it says breathe for family and friends. So like when you breathe, after you, I mean, you breathe in, or you inhale, and then you breathe out, and then you say
Mhm.
what you're breathing for, or you just think it.
Oh, you can say it or think it. I just like to ask since we're in a workshop, but if you're at home, doing the exercise,
Mhm.
or another thing better would be to write it down
Okay.
because that also helps with visualizing and making it more concrete, like making it real. Because sometimes we can get lost in thought,
Mhm.
and trail off if we, don't, or if we aren't intentional with what the uncomfortable feeling is.
Okay. I wrote it down so I can practice later.
Okay, cool. All right. Okay, and you shared your experience. Awesome. All right. So we are moving on to hand placements for comfort and compassion. So remember the static shock example that I gave in the beginning?
Mhm.
Is going to be very helpful in this portion just because we're going to be doing hand placements as if you were a Reiki practitioner, but just ignore all of the things about attunement and being aligned with certain frequency because like I said, we all are connected to source and we all, like I said, we have our chi, which is source energy, our vitality, and that is a direct extension of source. So in this portion, what we're going to do is go over different hand placements to self-soothe different parts of the body and different parts of the chakra, right? So very quickly, I'll just go over the 7 chakras. At the top of your head, you have your crown chakra. It is where it is like your intuition, where you get divine messages from. your first mind. You know, when people say, "Oh, I should have my first mind,"
Mm.
that would be like your crown chakra. Then you have your third eye, which is in the center of the forehead, and we typically think of that as divine sight, um, discernment, being able to see through illusions. Is also, you know, on a practical level, being able to see when someone, you know, tell if somebody's lying, if someone's bluffing, see beyond the veil. Um, yeah, like utilizing the divine messaging in a practical way to navigate the 3D. So then you have, after your third eye, you have your throat chakra. And with that, it's pretty self explanatory. It helps you articulate what you see, it helps you articulate your thoughts, your visions. Um, and it usually is a starting, is where you set your intention. So, you know, there's like these sayings to, you know, your tongue has power,
Hmm.
and casting spells, is because of how strong your throat chakra might be or is. It will determine how quickly something comes into fruition. That's why people are like, be careful what you say, be careful what you wish for, um, you know, or and be intentional with your words, because that is also you speaking. Oops, sorry, you speaking directly to the ethers, and attracting things that you want to. Um, so then you have your heart chakra. That is your ability to receive love and to give love. It is your ability to feel, to hold space for others. Um, and it also is your ability just to connect with others in a real and genuine way, right? You know, people have a good heart, are very, they're non-judgmental. They accept people as they are, and that's usually because that person is able to accept themselves. Unconditional love is the way that you're able to accept yourself and others. And so then you have your solar plexus, which is in between the rib cage, and that speaks directly to your sense of self, your self-esteem, how you show up in the world. Um, Confidence stems from the solar plexus. And then you have your sacral chakra, which is right over your reproductive, like your ovaries, like that area. And that's your creative center. That's where you're able to give birth to the things that you want to see, not just kids, but to the life that you want, to you know, to your business ideas, to any goals that you have, anything that you want to attain in this life. You can use that creative energy, that kundalini energy, to that passionate energy to create your reality. And then you have your root chakra. That is the last one, and that is what anchors you to the 3D. It is what determines your community, and it also determines what your role is within community. It also determines your stability and security and safety. How safe you feel within your body, how safe you feel within community. So there, I did some key combos that I feel like can really help unify these chakras and get them and just send some love to them. So for the third eye and the heart, well, let's okay. So we're gonna start by warming up the hands, right?
Hmm.
So if you rub them together as hard, as you want. So they get, warm, like your hands are cold and you're outside and you're trying to warm them up at a bus stop.
Hmm.
So once you get to a point where they're nice and warm, do prayer hands and then pull them apart ever so slightly. Like it should be a little gap in between your palms.
Okay.
And take a moment to kind of tune into the feeling that you feel. It should feel like a warm electric, like soft electric, not like super high voltage, but friction. A little bit.
Yeah. I can feel a little friction. I can feel a lot of warmth. And it's almost like the warmth is pulsating.
Hmm.
Yeah. I can feel that.
So when you get to that point, and you can always, whenever you feel like it's wearing off or, if it's not as potent as you would like it, you can always re up. But that's pretty much like warming up your energy so that it can flow to the places that you need it to go, right?
Okay.
So you want to take one for the first hand position. We're going to be unifying the mind and heart. So you want to take one hand and place it on your third eye, and then the other one and place it on your heart. Right? Full on palms. And what I tell people to do when you get in these positions, you can either envision that there is whatever quality that you want in these spaces. If it's more rest, because I know for my head, I've been thinking, my mind has been running nonstop, so I might just want relief. So I'll just envision relief coming from my palms, whatever the qualities of relief are. Peace coming from my palms, whatever those qualities look like, and just radiating into those spots. It just helps to intensify the exercise. So you're not just kind of like sitting there like this, you know. And it creates more intention. And part of meditation and a lot of these mindfulness practices is just making it as real for you as possible. So there's no right or wrong way to do this, but these are ways that make it real for me. So then for the next hand placements, we have the heart and the solar plexus. So again, we place our hands palm down on these areas and we just envision whatever we want, whatever we need, flowing directly into these energetic centers and radiating out into the rest of our body. And this is just also what I also love about these hand placements is that sometimes, like for me, I don't necessarily, I'll say like, I don't take my own touch seriously sometimes. But like if somebody else touches me, like if my, if Boo touches me or Bay touches me, I'm like, ooh, like you feel all tingly and stuff. Like it's just an automatic thing. And so I feel like for this is like almost an exercise to be like, well, I want my own touch to feel the same way. Like I want to feel like held and nourished by my own touch as well. So I'm not unconsciously or subconsciously forming these codependent bonds with someone else because I feel like I'm unable to do it for myself. So the third one is cradling the sacral. I really love this one. So you just want to take your two hands and just put them on the bottom of your fupa or belly or the bottom of the belly button and just hold it like you just ate like a whole plate of food or something. And you just want to hold it and just, again, whatever you need, let it radiate into those spaces, you know. And you can also move your hands around as well, like rubbing in the circular motion, just to also amp up that nurturing energy as well, kind of like when your grandma kind of rubs your back, doing that to yourself as well. And then lower back, I'll get up to show you this one. So take so that's just a good way to acknowledge, we carry a lot in our hips, especially as Black women. I love to just drive this point home that, like, a lot of Black women, especially, carry the issues of stability of home, of, security, all that stuff in our hips. All of that, pent up emotion and stress of trying to, get by in our day to day, it always gets locked up right in the hips and back. So this lower back is just not only comfort, but gratitude for our hips for taking us this long on this journey, for holding up and not cracking and breaking, and also offering it support even when we, don't feel supported. So it's just kind of like, a there, it's going to be okay. I know you've been carrying a lot and we appreciate you. So those are the hand placements for comfort and compassion. Any questions about that?
No.
Okay. Cool. So we're coming to the end. And I would like to just send you off with tips for self-soothing to help you in your practice as you go on. So, tips for self-soothing. We therapists and coaches and all the things, we like to tell our clients to notice what you notice. So when we say that, sometimes we'll notice, like for example, we'll notice that our back hurts and then automatically want to go on WebMDB or, call a doctor or like figure out when did this pain start, how long has it been. Just notice what you notice. So it's asking to scrap all of the judgment, scrap all of the narratives, and just notice that your back hurts. That's it. And then in that moment, right, because you can't go to, depending on where you are, is well, like right now, you can't just run into urgent care. Or, like, what can you do right now in this very moment to kind of help mediate the situation? And so, in the noticing what you notice, should I lay down? Should I get a hot compress? Should I practice some hand placements? So that would be up for you to decide, right? And have no judgment in what you notice either. That's the biggest thing. So speak life into your vessel, speak life into your body when you do these things. So these self practices are the time when you can baby yourself and really coddle yourself, because we don't get those opportunities just to be completely vulnerable and, like, have someone, or I guess have not a pep talk, but have like I guess a come to Jesus moment where so you would just like Like, yeah, I'm going through this, but you know, with the strength of spirit, God, whomever, source, the infinite, I'm able to get through this, or I am powerful, I am strong, I got this, or, just acknowledging that I've been through so much and I'm so grateful for my ability to have come through this. You know, I didn't realize how much strength I had. I am a warrior. Um, I love myself. I love me. I love my life. I love my body, things like that. And especially using speech when there's parts of yourself that you want to avoid. Like sometimes I'll catch myself being like, this is going to be like, if I wake up in the morning, I'm like, oh, this day is going to be trash. I'm like, no, actually, it's not. It's not. We're going to make it a good day. We woke up this morning. We're grateful for the opportunity and we're going to make it as good as possible. We're not going to expect the worst. We're going to expect the best because I am deserving of the best. I'm deserving of having a great day, of having a day with no issues. Like, I deserve a stress-free day. Like, it doesn't have to be stressful. I don't have to struggle. So that's how I use speech to kind of just change my mindset and like get myself pumped up, even in moments when I don't have anybody to pump me up or I don't feel, you know, as motivated. And another tip is be accountable for your own homeostasis. So homeostasis at the, base level just means your equilibrium. Don't allow, I mean, it's easier said than done. A lot of times we let external circumstances, external scenes pull our attention. So, somebody said might trigger us, but we have no control over what somebody else says or what somebody else does. The only thing we have control over is how we react to that. And being reactive gives away your power to the external force because it's like, I can pretty much do this and bank on this person flipping or being triggered. And you don't want to give nobody else that power to know that, oh, I can just say this or do this and they're, gonna give me the energy exchange that I want. So being accountable for your homeostasis means it can mean setting boundaries. It can mean withdrawing from places and spaces and circumstances that causes you to act out of character or tries to pull you out of character. Um, it could be putting a stop to habits that make you regress into detrimental thought patterns or just detrimental routines in general. And being accountable means also just paying attention to how you feel. And there's a lot of times that we'll go throughout our day to day and we just will not have any regard for our own feelings. Like we'll keep pushing ourselves even when we're tired, even when we're sick. We'll make up excuses like, oh, I gotta, but I got bills to pay. I gotta go to work. That's fine. But you're not going to be able to do any of that if you don't take care of yourself first. So those are the tips that I have for self-soothing. And then for your homework, practice the breath whenever you feel a pinch or pressed by life. And then before bed, or at least once a week, try the hand placements and keep in mind the static shock as association. So I'm open to questions. Thank you. Thank you for coming. And you can take down my info. And yeah, let me know. I'm open if you have any questions or just like any general comments or anything about the workshop, any takeaways.
So When we talk about energy, and I've heard you say that energy is connected throughout our entire body. Like, are we actually talking about energy like electricity energy, or are we talking in a metaphorical term for energy?
So, yes, so energy, there is a science behind it. Like I said, the wattage isn't going to be the same as power lines, but the energy that is running through your body is, I don't quote me on the measurement, but there is a current that runs through your body consistently.
Mm.
So however chi is measured, but you can have people like qigong or tai chi or practices that help you strengthen your life center or your life source, the chi. And you can also have it, I guess, like checked out. I don't necessarily, I don't, like deal with people's chi and more, chakras, and I can tell you if it's blocked and things of that nature. But you can have a practitioner look to see, like, if the wheel is spinning, how fast it's spinning, if it's dense, and work through it that way. But, oh, go ahead.
No, I was gonna ask because I know, and I don't know if these are the same terms when you say Arakia. Is that the same? I watch movies from What's Love Got to Do with It when they was chanting Nam Your Hole and Reikio. Is
So
that the same?
that's no, that's a Buddhist. So there are mantras that Tibetan monks and Buddhist monks will use in order to get into alignment with certain dogmas. So like if they need to meditate on the concept of love, then they'll have like a mantra dedicated to love. Or if they want to, and I can't remember what that mantra encompasses, but I know that it might have something to do with safety and security.
Okay.
And so, in order to be in alignment with the frequency of safety and security, that mantra helps or that affirmation helps. So, I mean, affirmations, to the example that I used and speaking life into your vessel, that would be a good example of how that can work using that mantra or using that chant to get, because there's a energy behind it. I guess there's a vibe behind certain mantras and stuff, especially the more intention that you put behind it. And also understanding, like for me, I just have to say most of my mantras in English because I'm not too sure of what I'm saying in other languages. And I want to really be able to kind of connect with what it is that I'm saying.
Of course. I mean,
Mhm.
another language, you don't know what you're saying. You could be
Yeah.
worshiping the devil. I mean, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. But yeah, some people practice it. Like this woman, Pima, she was a regular, white woman housewife, and she got into meditation because she found out that her husband was having an affair, and her whole life fell apart. Like she lost all security, stability, and she ended up going into one of these monasteries, and that's been her journey. So she's able to like talk in Tibetan and all these other languages, but I'm not there.
Okay.
Yeah. So I hope I answered the question about the energy. Oh, also another I guess modality that talks or that speaks directly to like meridians and chakras and chi is acupuncture.
Mm.
And so what they do is they put needles in, different meridian spots to release anything that might be pent up in that particular energetic point.
I've heard of acupuncture, but I didn't really know what it was for, what it was meant for.
Mhm.
And I think they use that to kind of test your body to see if you're allergic to things too. Kind of like
Okay.
they like stick a whole like something maybe grass or food, like it has something on each needle and they stick it in your skin to kind of see how your body reacts to it. So I didn't know they used it for a meditation purposes or a chakra to release or know where your energy are in your body. I didn't know that.
Yeah, they use it mainly for energetic maintenance,
Okay.
so energy healing. Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. Any other questions you got for
No, I mean, this is like my first time I've heard of the chakras, and I just wanted to see what it was about. I mean, I am going through a little healing process or where I'm trying to renew my mind and think more positive things and get out the negative stigma. And of course, I have single having issues within my life, and so I just thought, and I wanted to get in. I have been talking and saying, and I've been creating a space in my home so that I can meditate more, but I just hadn't grasped the whole concept of it. And I know I'll never do it unless I just start little by
Mhm.
little. So I'm just taking these free courses because I don't want to pay a whole bunch of money for something that I don't even know what I'm doing, and then I'm not learning anything, and it's just not going to be useful. So I'm this right here is kind of helping me to see if this is the direction that I want to go. And I'm liking what I'm hearing. I just have to apply it more and
Mhm.
tune with it. But other than that, I don't have any questions. No.
Okay. Yeah, I'll share just a little bit about when I started. So I got into meditation back in 2014, 2015, I think. And I was in the same boat. Like and I told one of the sisters that I was meditating with, I was like, it's just difficult for me to keep concentration about, for however long, because I feel like my thoughts just
Mm, yeah.
take off and I can't, get it to, I can't reel it in. And she's like, yeah, we all go through that. It doesn't matter how long you've been doing it, there's always going to be the pull somewhere else. And she was like, the meditation isn't to necessarily get away from those thoughts because they're going to be there throughout all the day, time you go to sleep, from time you wake up, but it's to decouple yourself from the thoughts. So you're not feeling it so viscerally, like, I am the thought. It's just a thought.
Hmm.
And so when she explained it to me like that, I was like, okay, so I don't have to do anything about the thoughts, but just, like I said, notice what I notice and then come back to, oh, speaking of, dang, okay, I keep bringing this book up. When Things Fall Apart,
Mhm.
but I think hopefully it's still on sale. I think it might be like $7 or something on
Oh.
Amazon. Because she also has like a good strategy for people who are starting out meditating, um, where it's like when a thought comes in, since we are creatures of habit and we have to label things, you can just label it thinking and then let it go. So she explains it more eloquently in the book, but like, say if a thought comes across about, I need to put gas in my car, just label it thinking, let it go. It doesn't have it doesn't have any control over you. It's not pressing. It doesn't need to be done right now. You can label it thinking and just let it fly.
Hmm.
And then the more, because what happens is when we latch onto the thought in meditation and we bring it down, now we're kind of like magnifying the thought and all of its inner workings. But when you just label it thinking, yeah, you thought something, but you're not going to pay it no mind or give it any more energy than that. And so the more you're able to do that and just release the thought, the more ease that it would be just to kind of like settle in to the meditation. and just, you know, and again, start off, you, you can revisit meditation at any time during the day. Because another tip that a meditation teacher gave me was to just give it a minute, like just meditate for a minute, you know, and try to see how many minutes you can do throughout the day. So I hope that helps.
Yeah, cool. And who wrote the book When All Things Fall Apart? What's her name? The author?
Pema Chadron, so it's Pema. Chadron is spelled Chondron.
Okay. Yeah, I'll look that up.
Yeah. Thank you again for coming.
Oh, no problem. Thank you for having. Thank you for hosting.
Yeah, no problem. No problem. I geek out about this stuff. I love this, and I love to see us like getting us together. You know, it's a journey, not a destination. So don't think that you're gonna like, you know, do this in a day. Take your time. You're doing great. I mean, this is a great first step. It really is.
Okay. All righty.
So I'm wishing you a good evening wherever you are.
I'm in
And
Arkansas. It's going to be 11 o'clock. Well, it's 10 o'clock now. So,
yeah, I'm in Atlanta, so we on 11.
Yeah. You're not that far apart.
Yeah. So yeah, enjoy your evening, wind down. It was a pleasure meeting you. If you need anything, definitely reach out. Don't be a stranger.
All right. Thank you so much. You have a good night.
You too. Bye.
Bye.